Call the meeting of the fiscal court to order. Good to see everybody here this morning. Bob Gifford, you're up.
Judge, we've completed our generator program, and I need to pay these invoices. This is a little bit different than the other grants that we normally do. The court is required to pay this in advance and then send a copy of the invoice along with a canceled check that we paid these. So the first amount is for the generator for Jonathan Creek. It is $42,850. Part 13% of that will be paid by Jonathan Creek Water District, $5,570.50. We've billed them for that amount, but we need to approve, I need the court to approve $42,850 for the Jonathan Creek generator.
And that's reimbursable through
FEMA.
FEMA. All right, you heard the request. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve payment.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Okay, the other generator project was for North Marshall Water at the Carter Bryant plant. That total was $73,799, of which the 13% will be paid by North Marshall Water, $9,593.87, and they have been billed likewise. So I would need your approval for $73,799 to Usher Incorporated.
You've heard the request. What's your pleasure?
Make a motion, Judge.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Since we last met, Judge, I talked with KIA about the additional funding for Sanitation District Number 1 to finish their project out. They agreed to, KIA has agreed to make that loan. We just received the contract from the state parks to the Sanitation District approving the additional revenue to pay for this loan amount so that they won't be out anything. And they are meeting as we speak to sign and adopt this contract. And as soon as they do, I will complete that application.
All right, any other questions, Bob? All right, thanks. Next, and I think all of you have in your boxes got the proposal for the new range proposed to be built out on property owned by the county next to the refuse district. Mike Van Steenbergen, did I say that right, Mike?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's not a hard name, so I want to make sure I got it right. Mike has worked very hard on this and came in and met with Jeff and I, last week, Mike?
Yes, sir.
And so I'll just let you kind of explain to them what you wanted to do.
Okay, my purpose to being here is to discuss the construction of the Marshall County Rifle and Pistol Shooting Range. Prior to the range development, I have met with the following people: Judge Mike Miller and the floodplains administrator, and if you've got it on the list, all these other people, and they reviewed the plans that I developed for this particular range, and they've all met with their approval. So to that degree, everything's a go there. This range is being constructed with safety in mind. The construction of the range will meet and exceeds all the requirements for the NRA's construction according to the 2012 source book put out by the National Rifle Association, who establishes the standards for construction of the range. This range will be enclosed in berms with overhead bullet retainment for all fired rounds to be retained inside the firing, the berms. So it'll be completely safe. It'll be operated by a range master to control the firing, along with range safety personnel who will be going up and down the firing line to ensure firearm safety and proper handling of their weapons. The cost of the construction of this range will be completely absorbed by the club membership, so there won't be any tax money required to support this particular range. So that's a big.
Now, let me clarify something, Mike, we did agree that where we can and when we can, the road department and the refuse department will help.
Correct.
With building the berms.
That would be a big asset
Yeah,
to us
that's-
because you do have the
'Cause
heavy
we wanted to be
equipment.
a part of it, we couldn't pull everything off, as Mike and I discussed.
Right, yeah, so that there's a big factor there.
Yeah.
If we can do it, if not, when maybe we can absorb that construction with
And we
the.
realize it's not gonna be an overnight situation.
No, it will.
We're looking long-term at a safe, affordable place for people to sight their weapons, target shoot.
Correct.
Sheriff's Department, police departments can also utilize the range.
Yes, sir. It'll also be utilized for conducting various classes such as your concealed carry, hunter education programs, hosting various shooting activities, as many as possible, which will in turn bring revenue back into the county. So it's a big plus and everybody wins with this. One of the stipulations with us being able to handle the firing range as a club, we will also absorb the liability requirements. And I have done that with the West Bend Mutual Insurance Company, with Mike Young as the agent dealing with this. We required $3 million worth of liability coverage and $1 million worth of coverage per incident. And I can honestly say in over 40 some odd years in shooting on military and civilian ranges, we've never ever had to use it due to the safety elements in place with the firing ranges. So that's our desire is to get your permission and authorization to construct this range. If you have any other questions on this, go ahead and ask and I'll have answers for you.
What's the exact location, sir?
I'm sorry?
Exact location?
The exact location on this will be south of the landfill, county landfill. The rifle range will have a distance from the firing line out to the target of 300 yards, and there aren't very many ranges around here that have that. The pistol range will also go out to 100 yards. There aren't very many places. That's to facilitate metal silhouette shooting. There will be 54 firing points, 32 firing points for the rifle, 22 firing points for the pistol, which will facilitate team shooting in both the pistol and the rifle competition. And both ranges will be integrated with each other, so if we have a large tournament for rifle, they can also fill in on the pistol and vice versa, so it's very versatile as far as the construction of this range. The most important element, one of the most important elements in the safety is constructing a bullet retainment wall 15 yards in front of the firing line, up to 16 feet, 6 inches wide, full of sand. So if anybody were to fire an accidental early round, it'll be retained inside that wall. One at 15, one at 30, and another one at 50 yards. Keeping this elevation will also prevent any rounds fired from going over the impact berm. So it's completely safe. The side berms are 15 feet high, which again protect it. Then our requirements for this range is between 8 and 10, so we're exceeding it by an added 4 feet. So we have maximum safety for everything. The guns will be checked prior to coming onto the range for being empty, and they'll also be checked prior to exiting, and people will be required to sign on and off the firing line, with sidewalks going down each side of the firing row with a concrete platform to making this a handicapped accessible firing range.
What's the name of the organization?
It'll be the Marshall County Rifle and Pistol Shooting Range. At this point, if we can get your permission to construct this, then I'll follow up with putting information out to have a meeting for all the people who have a desire to shoot and want to join the club to come up with appropriate name, but I think Marshall County Rifle and Pistol name would be appropriate.
Questions?
The direction of fire, how is the range laid out?
Strictly north to south would be about a 15-degree angle towards the east, which is perfect for light, for the rotation of the sun for competition shooting.
North to south, that'll be away from.
That'll be going a little bit kitty corner off from the,
Toward the big pond, Bob.
yeah, towards that big pond.
No
And
chance of
on the
us
back
getting into
side,
anybody working up there or
No.
anything? Okay.
yeah, if this here were to go exactly true north, we have a 2.5-mile distance beyond that in the wildlife preserve over there, so it would be completely safe to that degree. We've taken all that into consideration, which makes it perfect for competition shooting.
I just have two questions. Are we considering same hours of operation as what the refuse currently operates
Pardon?
under? Are we considering same hours of operation? In other words, we're not going to have to give keys or anything out like that to
No,
access the area?
It's a
Range,
separate area.
You won't go through the main entrance, though? You'll go
No,
around?
No,
As you make the curve.
The main, yeah,
If
to
you're,
the
if
left.
you're coming from Benton, you make the curve, the area is straight out in front of you.
Gotcha. Okay, so we won't
you
even have to mess with
No,
access or
nothing
anything
coming
like that.
from up there. It'll all, the gate and all will be down
correct, we're gonna
there.
have to install an additional gate.
Own entryway.
The gate that's down there in the curve goes off into the
Yes.
game preserve, and that's not our property.
So you'll have a separate entrance?
Everything else
Okay.
around the range is fenced in.
Okay.
And we will have impact warning signs to keep out along that fence line along the Benton and Bryansburg Road.
Gotcha.
So everybody in the surrounding area will be aware of that.
The only other question I have is when I'd spoken with Troy about this a couple of months ago, he had expressed a lot of concern about the ability to level it up to where it needed to be. He said that there was a lot of dirt work that was going to be needed. Is that what you anticipate probably needing the most help on?
Yes, ma'am. The primary dirt work is going to be the construction of the berms themselves. After that, we'll need to do a build-up of the firing line and the target lines themselves with the dirt and gravel, which is a foundation that we need anyway for a concrete
Right.
platform.
You don't have any concerns about flooding? You feel pretty comfortable
No,
after the
actually, I'm
review?
very comfortable
Good
with
deal.
that. I've gone out there and walked the area several different times after big storms, and it's a little bit slushy,
Okay.
but nothing as far as big standing water is concerned. I fired at the Fort Benning range where you've had to put rubber boots on,
Right.
boots basically,
Right.
to walk down there, and there's a very formal range.
Good.
But, so that's not going to be a factor.
Good.
Other questions? All right, what Mike is needing is the approval of the court to continue. Of course, the first thing is to see how many members he's gonna get the money in to do this. But before he can even do that, he needs the court's permission to proceed. Is that
Correct.
right, Mike, what we're looking for
Yeah,
today?
yes, sir. And then once this here happens, then we can sign a lease agreement
Right.
from the county, releasing you from any liability, and we'll absorb that responsibility. And we won't initiate the insurance until we have club membership that'll support the cost of this, which runs roughly $4,875 for this $3 million worth of coverage. A minimum of 65 people in the club membership would support that, but I'm looking at considerably more than that for range maintenance and upkeep of the range itself.
The only issue that I had was that we wanted to make sure that the Division of Water was approved of the work in this, because it is such a low area. And so we're gonna follow up on
You gonna check on that?
What is the cost to construct? Do you have that information?
I don't have that total data in line. I'm looking at between $85,000 and $100,000. We'll, work on the one range at a time and getting that constructed so that we can start early shooting to satisfy the members of the county. But the berms themselves, that's non-movable, so we'd like to have those berms in place for both ranges before we do this starting of this. The center berm will separate the rifle range from the pistol range, so it's completely safe.
Will we lease this to them, the area?
Yeah, what they will do, they're gonna create a nonprofit entity, where, what we talked about just briefly the other day.
Correct.
And we would sign a lease with whatever clauses in there that we would like regarding liability and limited use and that sort of thing.
Okay. Well, I'd make a motion that we proceed, as long as we can satisfy the legal entities, we lease the property to them and go forward.
All right, we have a motion by Squire Gold. Is there a second? Second. Second by Squire Anderson. Any discussion? None. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Michael, good luck.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of each other.
You might be able to shoot that first round out.
Yeah. Oh,
Judge, I want to
absolutely.
add to it
That'd be
that
great.
when Mike contacted me, because, naturally I was the one that's trying to get this up and running and that, with everything that I was doing and whatnot, that was the best find that I've ever had is to have him on board with this because he's put a lot of work into it. And I want to thank him personally for taking that task on because it looks like now we're finally going to get this thing underway.
Well, having a safe place
Yeah.
for folks to sight their rifles in is gonna be a big benefit. People want to do it all the time, they just go everywhere
Absolutely.
Yep.
and shoot them.
Gravel pits.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Is Mike just a citizen who wanted to see this happen?
Yeah,
Is that
he
correct?
actually contacted me because we, not only him, but we had Weldon Solomon, John Kirill Krabowski, and Scotty Solomon also met with us. And he's pretty much took the lead on this, and I was proud that he did because, that's just another thing off my plate
Absolutely.
that somebody who's got the experience and knowledge to do this. So I was proud that he come on board with it.
How long do you think it will be? Our phones are going to start ringing right away. So our phones will start ringing right away with people wanting to know how they can join. So can you give me a time frame, maybe of when you think you'll be ready to start taking?
I will,
Interested
it'll be
applicants.
first part of next month.
Okay,
That way we can put it in our news, media,
okay,
television, wherever, and give people an opportunity to hear this over and over again to maximize participation in our meeting, which I'm hoping will be in a pavilion over at Mike Miller's Park.
okay.
And Mike and I discussed this. We're not talking about something that's gonna happen overnight.
No,
We're looking at several months, maybe a year, getting everything ready because we want it to be totally safe before we start operation. So, this is, but we've got to have the membership
Right.
to make this
fund it.
thing work.
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think that will be a problem.
I don't
don't
either.
either.
That was my point. I know
But
we're
it's,
going to start getting
that's
phone
something
calls.
We'll have to,
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to project out to September to
Okay.
have our meeting. And then as they sign up for this, then we can start putting together a responsible management aspect of the range, because the range is definitely a very strict business
Yes.
to ensure everybody's safety.
Okay. Thank you for all
Have you set a
that.
membership price yet?
Yes, ma'am. The initial initiation fee would be $125 for the first year and $75 after that. Non-club members, if they want to shoot from 1 to 4 hours, would be $25 or $50 for the full year. But then again, that has to be established once we develop the club so that they have a voice in how this is going about. So that's a club function requirement.
yeah, these are a lot of things that'll have to be answered once we,
Get
club
together.
is formed and get their 501c3. A lot of things have to come into play here. This is just the first step, so I don't want anybody to think that we'll be able to start shooting tomorrow.
No, that's true, and I think you have your packet there, you see the list of the safety requirements for operating the range. And I think you'll be pleased with that.
Any other questions of Mike? Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
We have with us today Bill Borton. Bill is the ER of the Benevolent Protective Order of Elks, number 2707, here in Marshall County, and he has a presentation to make to Jenny Boland, our Senior Citizen Director. So, Jenny, you and Bill, come on up so everybody can see you.
I don't know whether they need to see me or not.
Well, I don't know, you're not that bad. You look pretty good, Bill.
Here's a check for $2,000 to the senior citizens of Marshall County. They, I think they need it real good, and it's just part of our organization, almost 600 members, and we voted on it. We decided to give them a $2,000 check.
All right.
Could y'all turn this a little bit there?
I didn't know the board could operate a camera.
We can operate a lot.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very, very much.
Jenny, I'm sure we can use that.
Oh, yes, we took a 5% cut across the board so far this year.
I knew we did.
Yes, Lord.
Thank y'all so
Thank you.
much. Appreciate it. Anyone else here to address the court? Yes, sir.
Morning. My name's Dave Howerton. I'm a resident of Brooks Lane, and I'm here on behalf of the residents of Brooks Lane. We've noticed that there's always a lot of traffic on our little dead-end road in Sled Creek. And recently it came to, or I had the option or the occasion to inquire about the speed limit, and was told that on roads that are not posted, it's assumed to be 55 miles an hour. And Brooks is basically a one-lane road. We often have to pull off to get out of the way of oncoming traffic. So we're asking the court to consider posting speed limits and dead-end signs and children at play, and see if we can't get some limits on the speed of automobiles traveling on Brooks.
Brooks is in our system, Russell?
Yes.
Okay. Well, two things, two yes and one no.
Okay?
Okay? We can do a speed limit, we can do dead end, but the State Department of Transportation has cautioned us not to put up children at play signs, because in effect, we're saying it's okay for kids to play on the right of way.
Okay, well,
And that's why we had to remove the ones we had. We used to have those all over the county. And the state DOT said, you know, you're setting yourself up for liability there.
we will take whatever we can get as far as help in slowing down some of the traffic.
35, what do you think
Well-
would be a safe speed?
We put 25. We have a petition from residents and neighbors and people on the street. But then I noticed that on Sled Creek, it's posted between 15 and 25 at different locations. And this truly is a very narrow road,
Yes.
several turns in it, a lot of trees, blind curves, on a short piece of
That's-
ground.
Best thing to do, Judge, would probably have Russell and the sheriff go out there and take a look at it and make their recommendation, along with the folks out there, take that into consideration too.
If a petition is necessary, we have that.
Well, let's go ahead and present that. Thank you. Let me get your name again.
Dave Howerton.
Dave?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm on there as the contact.
Yeah, I see it now. Dave, we'll meet again the third Tuesday of this month.
Okay.
And in the meantime, Russell, if you and the sheriff could take a look, give us a recommendation, whether it be 20 miles, 25 miles an hour. Dead end is no problem, right, Russell? That's no problem at all, to put a sign up at the beginning that the road is a dead end, is not a through road.
We've had occasions where fairly large trucks come in and there's absolutely
Nowhere to
turn
go.
around. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Okay,
I think it's officially Brooks Lane.
Yes.
all right.
I have a question. Is information correct? If it's not posted, it's assumed to be 55? And is
Yeah.
that, you can't do anything about it if somebody's being
Yeah, if it's not posted in any way, it's an assumed 55.
interested?
So that's state law.
It's amazing if you look at this little road, and then the feeders that go off of it are even
Yeah.
smaller. So, well, we appreciate the consideration and hope it
Russell,
works
All
out.
right, Dave, we can, yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry. There are quite a few of the side roads out there, I know, because we drove them recently. Is this the only road that we probably need to look at, or should we, while we're out there, just maybe
I'd say
reference and see?
You know, we've got a few roads that don't have speed limit signs on them.
could we just check and while you all are out there and just maybe let us know within that community?
Brooks happens to be probably the longest unmarked one. There's several others that are shorter and they can't get up quite as much speed and have lesser distance. But just so happens that Brooks is long enough that you can turn on it and accelerate quite a ways before you
Right.
realize
Start
what's
hitting
going
the
on.
curves.
Yeah, yeah. And we've found that in walking up the street or the side of the road, it gets pretty scary.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you for your
Thank you.
consideration.
Yes, sir. Anyone else to address the court? Let's move into correspondence. We have received from Ray Gage, the Kentucky Career Center. He's the local veteran employer representative. A proclamation to whom it may concern, whereas in appreciation of Kentucky's veterans who fought for our freedoms, and whereas placing emphasis, awareness, and value on veterans contributing to work-ready communities in western Kentucky, and whereas they are invited to attend the Kentucky Career Centers and West Kentucky Community and Technical College Vet Working Western Kentucky events the week of August 19th through the 23rd, 2013. And whereas they will be offered entrepreneur, small business workshops, employment workshops, meet a multitude of veteran organizations and support agencies for the Western Kentucky region. Therefore, Mike Miller, Marsh County Judge Executive, hereby proclaims the fourth week of August as 2013 Promote a Veteran Week, encouraging all employers to promote hiring, training, and supporting veterans to show how much they are appreciated. What's your pleasure?
Make a motion, Judge.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. From the Department of Energy and Environment, Marsh County Fiscal Court was awarded a 2012-2013 waste tire grant for one-time funding in the amount of $3,000 for the disposal or recycling of waste tires. I'm pleased to inform you that the records submitted by the Marsh County Fiscal Court, Marsh County Refuse District closes the grant out officially. Thank you for your efforts and dedication to a cleaner and more environmentally friendly Commonwealth. That's from Ricky Solomon, the Recycling Assistance Branch of the Energy and Environment Cabinet. Let's move into old business. You've all received the minutes of the July 16th and 23rd minutes of the Fiscal Court. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes of those meetings?
I have none.
Motion approved, Judge.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Let's move in, in old business, we did, at our last meeting, we talked about, we had a meeting with the housing and buildings people about the requirement that we have an inspector for not only electrical, but also structural. And Wendy, I think y'all are gonna have a meeting on that?
Next Thursday at 2 o'clock.
Okay. So by the next court meeting, hopefully we'll have a recommendation to present to the court in that regard.
Judge, before you move on Tucker Lane, I spoke to you about before.
Yes.
Where they had washed out. I have checked the records, and Justin helped me with that. We can't find where that road was ever taken, that section, that was cut out, was ever taken from the county maintenance. Russell says they're still maintaining that, and if you remember, the culvert washed away. Since that time, Russell has removed one from Salem Chapel Road, and the people living on that street are wanting that put back in. So if it's all right with the court, I've talked to Russell about it, we would like to put the used culvert in there and gravel that over. The residents on the street says they would like for that to be fixed back, and I don't know what you all want to do with that.
That's
It's
fine
very
with me.
limited, it's very limited, but it is an
Yeah.
open road, and it's standing with a ditch about 12 feet deep.
All right,
We've got sawhorses there wired to the road to keep them from blowing over, because
Yeah.
people were driving up close to the edge of
Yeah.
that. So if it's okay with the court, we will go ahead and put that sewer in there, culvert in there, and cover it with gravel. I told them we probably wouldn't blacktop it right away.
no, that's fine.
But we'll just cover it where it's passable.
All right,
Is that all right with
that's
everyone?
fine with me. You want to put that in the motion so we get it in record?
I'd make the motion that we replace that,
All right.
that culvert with the used one and gravel that over on
All right.
Tucker Lane.
We have a motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Any other old business? All right, let's move into new business. I have a resolution. This is a proposed agreement and resolution utilizing county road aid discretionary bond funds. I had talked to the commissioner some time ago, and he was gracious in awarding us a final executed agreement in the amount of $275,000. Now, anything over that would be with the responsibility of the county. We have picked out some roads. This agreement entered into and between the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Department of Rural and Municipal Aid, hereinafter called the Department of the Marshall County Fiscal Court, hereinafter called the county. Whereas it would be to the benefit of the traveling public to perform bituminous resurfacing and on Ruggie Cemetery Road, CR 1057, from Kentucky 2595 extending south to English Road, a distance of 1.22 miles, and on King Creek Road, County Road 1010, from Big Bear Highway extending southeast to the end of county maintenance, a distance of 1.21 miles, and on Curd Road, CR 1146, from Kentucky 402, extending northeast to Kentucky 1364, a distance of 3.28 miles, which shall hereinafter be referred to as the project. And whereas the county has expressed its desire to perform the work for the aforementioned project and to be responsible for all phases of the project. Now therefore, in consideration of these premises and the mutual covenants contained herein, the parties agree as follows. The department shall be responsible for providing county road aid discretionary bond funding in an amount not to exceed $275,000 for the above-mentioned project. If the project is performed by contract, the county shall employ only contractors pre-qualified by the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet for the work items included in the project and shall comply with all legal bidding requirements, including but not limited to the provisions of KRS 45A and 424. Concurrence must be obtained by the county through the District 1 Chief Engineer in Paducah prior to the awarding of any contract for work or materials to be used on this project. The county shall cause the project to be constructed to a level which meets applicable county road and bridge standards. All bridges will be required to meet or exceed an HS 25 loading, and all materials paid for by the department used on or incorporated into the project shall meet the requirements specified in the Highway Department specification for road and bridge construction, current edition. The county will obtain any required permits or approval of plans for work to be accomplished on state-owned right-of-way from the Cabinet's District 1 office in Paducah. The county hereby agrees to put forth a reasonable effort to do maintenance on roads listed herein prior to the bituminous surface being applied. Maintenance being defined but not limited to proper ditching, cleaning, or replacement of clogged or deficient drain tiles, proper shouldering, surface preparation, and any other obvious maintenance the road may need. The minimum thickness of any bituminous surface shall be 1 inch. The county shall indemnify and hold harmless the department and all its officers, agents, and employees from all suits, actions, or claims of any character because of any injuries or damages received by any persons, or property resulting in the construction of the project. Upon the execution of this agreement, the department shall grant the county $275,000 for work to be completed by county under the obligations of this agreement, which shall represent the total obligation of the department. If the actual cost of the project is less than $275,000, the county shall expend those funds, excess funds expressly for bridges and paving and rehabilitation of existing roads. The county agrees to be responsible for all costs above $275,000. However, the county shall not be required to expend any more than $275,000. The county shall maintain for a period of 3 years all records of material, equipment, and labor costs involved in the performance of the work for the project or on any work completed with excess funds if applicable. These records shall be subject to audit by the Transportation Cabinet. The department reserves the right to inspect the methods used in order to perform the work necessary to successfully complete the project, and also reserve the right to cease all work commenced under the terms of this agreement at any time. The county will pass the attached resolution, and a copy of that resolution shall be attached and made part of this agreement. What's your pleasure?
Make the motion, Judge.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Now, if I heard correctly, when you were reading that, in order for, when we proceed, we have to comply with KRS 45A, which is the Model Procurement Code, which would be a different type of procurement than what we have adopted as a county.
Which
So
would be-
we'll have to I'll have to help monitor that to make sure we have complied.
Well, in the resolution, and I was just reading their stuff, the resolution, we do hereby certify that all roads and streets referred to in said agreement are county roads as defined in KRS 171.010, Section 1-B, and the fiscal court will adopt all statements, representations, warranties, covenants, and agreements contained in said agreement, and does accept the agreement. So what you're saying is we'll just need to modify, or?
No. We just, some of the procurement requirements of KRS 45A, the Model Procurement Code, are different from the procurement, or than the,
The bid limit, the bid requirement?
in some of the some of those kind of things may be different. I'll just have to check to make sure that what we're using on that project are in compliance.
Okay.
Most of those things are very similar. There are some differences.
So our contract now, our paving contract we may have to do something outside of it, is what you're saying, in other words.
Possibly, we've never had to before. But
We've never done that, but, okay.
I just noticed that in there, so I'll make sure we check
Okay.
that.
Do we get a vote on that? Okay. We'll proceed, I think, and Russell, we might call Rick or Kamish and make sure we can go ahead and do our annual bid. Go ahead and get these online to be paid, because if we wait too long, we'll run out of time. And I'd like to get these roads completed during this paving cycle. You know, when you get all this stuff.
Russell, your annual
Okay, next, county tax rates.
Yeah.
It's time to set the fiscal court general tax rates for 2013. We have the information has been presented to us from the State Department of Revenue and our county treasurer, Emily Martin. Our real estate, 9.9. This is down from 10 cents. Tangible personal property, 9.9. Aircraft, 11.2. Documented watercraft, 11.2. Inventory in transit, 11.2. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve those tax rates, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All, any opposed, no.
That
Motion
tangible's
carried.
down from 10.83,
Yes.
so both of them were reduced, so.
Both of them reduced the same amount.
No.
Real estate was 10.0 last year, it's 9.9, will be for 2013. Tangible was 10.83 and will go to 9.9 also. The aircraft and documented watercraft inventory and transit didn't change, they remain at 11.2.
We actually go out and, raise watercraft that's moored here, anchored here.
Well, that's a good question. Sometimes the state will bring people down and they'll walk the docks, or sometimes our PVA will walk the docks. And what is there, is it the 1st of January? Is that right, Jeff?
Yeah, on January 1.
January 1, that's what you're taxed on. Now, there's been a bit of a controversy in Lyon County and Livingston County over these documented crafts. Where that's gonna go, I don't know. But if you recall, for years, and I guess this goes back to World War II, if you had a houseboat and you documented it with the Coast Guard, which says that in time of conflict or war, that watercraft could be commandeered by the Coast Guard to be used in national defense. Now, to me, that's kind of antiquated. I don't know how many times our pleasure houseboats at Kentucky Dam has been put into service for the Coast Guard. Not to saying that couldn't happen. I'm just saying that seems to be the point of controversy with some of the PVAs on the lake areas, Lake Cumberland, Kentucky Lake, Barclay Lake, Lake Malone, and others. So, you
Last
know,
time that was done was
well, it's a long time.
because some of what is my understanding, the yacht in Calvin City out of the railroad track, Calvin Year Young.
So it
Okay.
worked.
So it can happen.
But
Is this the motor vehicle?
Yes, this is one.
All right. From motor vehicle and watercraft, the tax rate for 2013 was 11.2 cents per $100 assessed value. Marshall County Fiscal Court will levy a property tax of 11.2 cents for $100 assessed value upon motor vehicles and watercraft for the county calendar year 2014. What's your pleasure?
Motion approved.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in fa- Okay, any opposed? Motion carried. All right, next, our payroll fund receivable accounts. Miss Emily?
As of July 31st, 2013, the Marshall County Sheriff's Department owed us $384,918.01 for payroll due to the payroll fund.
All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the accounts receivable report?
Motion approved, Judge.
I have a motion, is there a second? Motion and a second, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carried. Marshall County Library Audit, we do have the audit of the Marshall County Public Libraries for the fiscal year ending July 12th, or June 30th, 2012, from Romine and Associates, Certified Public Accountants. All looks in order, but it's here for your review. And of course, we'll send a copy up to State Auditor Adam Edelin and the Department for Local Government. Is there any other business come before the court?
Judge, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we hosted, Marshall County hosted the World Bow Fishing Tournament. Back in June, we actually hosted the Kentucky State Bow Fishing Tournament. Had about 30 boats in that, three-man teams, I believe. They came in, I think, as far away as Texas. The year we hosted the World Bow Fishing Tournament, we had about 50 boats, three-man teams coming in from Wisconsin, Texas, Florida. There's a proposal being put together right now in order for us to host this again. This is I'm not sure, an organization that puts this together, and they place a bid in to host these tournaments in different locations. And if it's accepted by the bow fishing officials, then it would move into this area. It would be in this area this coming year in July. It's a pretty good a tournament. It draws several people, like I said, about 150 people. A lot of them come in July with their families and fish that week previous to the tournament. The proposals go in, anything that, in the last times we've had tournaments, the refuse department is taking care of disposal of the fish after they're weighed in, and they take care of that. But anything that we could add to that to show a commitment from the county would help with this proposal, possibly bring this tournament to this area. Should be hotels, gas, food. And I was just wondering if the court would consider putting maybe $500 and committing to doing that if the tournament can be brought to this area as a part of the prize money.
Emily, you're a bow fisherman. Tell us about it.
It will be a tournament put on by the BAA, which is the Bow Fishing Association of America. It has two divisions. There's a Big 20 division and a numbers division of this tournament. What they do is the pot will be split. The tournament's probably around the $250 range for the teams to enter into the tournament. And this is a bigger tournament, so they will be here. They will come in to the county probably a week or more in advance, and probably some of them will become the month or two prior to that, just to get in extra scouting time. A lot of them will bring their families, but they will be staying here. And at the state shoot, there's always boats from other areas come in. We had Arkansas, Ohio, Indiana, Tennessee, Texas, South Carolina, Florida. There's many people that travel and do these things, but more importantly, it's good for our waters. It reduces the invasive species, the silver carp. Those are the jumping ones that injure people. And then the big head carp. And I can tell you personally, this year versus 3 to 5 years ago, the number of silver carp in our lake is staggering. Used to, you would see them on occasions, and now it's the predominant fish that you see. So anything that we can do to prevent them crowding out and overeating our sport fish is a positive thing for our waters. What it is they eat especially the invasives, is they eat plankton, they're filter feeders. So they eat what the babies of the bass and the crappie and the red ears and all the fish that people come here to fish for, they will starve those out. They will eventually push them out and starve them out if we don't do as much as we can to prevent them.
Can you assure me you're gonna rid the lake of these
No.
invasive
No.
carp?
It'll be hard to do that.
I don't think that's gonna happen,
Now,
but it
one
may
of the
help.
things we had a little bit of an issue the
Yes.
last time the World Bow Fishing Tournament came here with the boats going into the bays where there was residents. In the last tournaments we've had, I don't believe we've had little or if any complaints. They have created red zones, which does not allow these boats to go into these highly populated areas in these bays.
Yes.
And so they have to fish in other places. So
Yeah.
that's one thing they've implemented that should.
We didn't get any complaints this time
No,
on the
state,
tournament,
no,
none
we
at all.
didn't, I didn't either.
I didn't get it, yeah.
Randy, are y'all aware that they're trying to get the world here, our tourism director is here? Did you? Okay.
That's Sunday night.
They're also looking at limiting the ramps that you can use.
Yes.
So that you aren't getting into subdivisions or anything like that trying to use their ramps. They're gonna limit the ramps to probably the Fenton ramp on the other side of Egner's Ferry Bridge, below Barkley Dam and those tailwaters, below Kentucky Dam and those tailwaters, and then the Devil's Elbow launch over on Barkley's side. So Marshall County will be heavily fished during that period of time.
Will we
And
kind of be
benefit.
the, I guess you'd say
We'll
the
be
headquarters?
we'll be
Yes,
the
yeah,
jumping
we will
off
be
point.
the-
Yes.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, if they can get everything like they did the state, they were very pleased with the location up in Aurora for the start the tournament and to come back in for the weigh-in,
Yeah.
so. That'll be the jumping off point,
Now,
Marshall
you
County.
have been hit with one of those jumping carp, haven't you?
Several times.
Of course, we're hopeful. Commissioner Comer was in, Josh, did you get to go to that meeting? Commissioner Comer was in just last week, I believe. And I had a prior engagement and Josh went to see about the interest of some kind of a processing plan. If you'd address that, Josh, for
I guess it's a good time to talk about that. You know, this has been something that the severity of this situation has gotten worse over the last couple of years. Fish and Wildlife were at the meeting, and Commissioner Comer, the agriculture is taking an interest in this, and I think they're going to be opening up some financing options for processing of this Asian carp. The biggest problem right now is finding a market for it. Of course, the fertilizer and pet food industry is one market, and flash freezing it and send it to China, but that's not a very sustainable,
Well, that's
industry.
what the Plant Wickler is doing,
Right.
is it not?
It is. One of the problems with that, Judge, is if they flash freeze it and they ship it over to China, when it gets to China, Chinese may or may not accept the quality of the meat and may or may not pay for it. And then you've got fishermen on the other end who are, expecting maybe to get paid 15 cents a pound for it that may not get anything, and 15 cents per pound is not much. So one of the things that at least Fish and Wildlife and agriculture are talking about is trying to help create a market for this Asian carp. And some of the things that Fish and Wildlife talked about, the gentleman that we've talked with on the phone, Judge, you and I have talked to him before, I can't think of
Jeff
his.
Perot?
No, I'm thinking of Ron Brooks.
Oh, Ron, yeah.
Fish and
sure.
Wildlife.
Yeah.
He said probably in about 4 or 5 years, if this Asian carp situation isn't addressed and something's done, that in probably 4 or 5 years, we can probably forget about having sport fishing on Kentucky Lake. It just, as Emily said, eats up all the nutrients. And these fish will actually spawn themselves out of
2 or
existence.
3 times a year, right?
Yeah. They unlike other fish that spawn to their food source, these things just keep spawning. So it is a very serious situation for us on Kentucky Lake and Barkley Lake. So as some of these things start coming down, you start hearing talk about Asian carp and some of the things that are going on, we might want to take a serious look and interest in that. And I don't know if the state tourism has taken an interest, but it certainly affects us.
Yes, so, and Commissioner Brooks mentioned that they're looking at possibly having some more of the tournaments, like they had this past spring. And I know next Tuesday, I'm talking to my board about us hoping to get a tournament possibly this fall. Because during that one day event, they brought in, what was it?
I think it was 40 tons.
Yeah, 40 tons of
It's
fish.
80
which
something thousand pounds.
didn't put a dent, of course, in the population of fish. But it's wanted to have two or three of those tournaments a year. So that's when I think the special tourism is
Enjoy that.
because it's damaging our,
Visual.
it's gonna damage our fishing.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Now, Chef Perot, the fellow from Louisiana that we met with a couple of times, Jeff and I talked with him on a conference call with his attorneys. Some of you may have been to Kentucky Dam and tasted his Asian carp that he prepared. They said it was pretty good.
If you,
I don't
if you
know.
can get past the fact that it's a carp, that is a tasting fish. I have eaten some of it. It's the closest thing to crappie that you can get.
Now, wait a minute,
No,
Bob.
it's
Wait a
good.
minute, wait a minute.
It's good now. I'm telling you.
You're starting to
It's
almost
all about-
blaspheme over there.
It's all about
It's
naming
not
it.
quite, but it's as close.
Well,
to
they're
All
gonna
about
rename
naming
it.
it.
Crap as you
They're
can
gonna
get.
they're gonna have to rename it. They've already said that, that there used,
Speckled and more.
there you go. There used to be a
I don't
fish,
care what you call it, a carp's a carp.
fish called a slime head,
Call it what you want to.
and now that's orange roughy.
That's the thing, Judge, is if you think of a carp in the terms of our native carp,
Yeah.
they're sucker bottom feeders.
Yeah.
These fish are not, we're calling them carp, but they got teeth and they can eat.
Yeah.
And I had those fish that the chef prepared at Kentucky Dam Village. And I'll tell you, my family's a fishing family. And this is a product of fish that is, as the sheriff says, comparable to white crappie.
Sure is. It's good.
From an economic development perspective, I've worked with probably 3 or 4 projects, Chef Pearl being one of them. We've seen projects where they're wanting to actually come in and do the processing on a vessel and fish within a 300-mile radius of really where the Cumberland, or I'm sorry, the Ohio River and the Mississippi River. So,
That's what the show.
no, we'll see. There's not a lot out there. The biggest problem they're having right now, Judge, is being able to pay the fishermen enough to actually go out and catch
Right.
these things.
Yeah.
So, we kind of talked about it at the meeting, and one thing we hate to see is the government subsidize to help get these. But, there's, you look at the situation we're in, and really, if it's the government that's gonna, have some kind of subsidy or incentive for these companies and the fishermen, at least in the interim, until the market is created, then hopefully it'll happen, but.
Well, what could happen, and I think Randy will attest to this, we depend on, in tourism, some of our tournaments, so we have crappie and bass tournaments, over the years. I'm talking about some big tournaments that come into Kentucky Dam, Ken Lake, Moores. So, this could really damage our native species of fish in our lake waters. So it is something. Let's get back to Bob's idea or suggestion that, what'd you say, Bob, 500?
I thought 500 might be something that would help show our commitment, and we can actually vote on this next meeting or this meeting, either one, but,
I'd go ahead and make a motion.
I'd make a motion that we support this tournament with a $500.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. So when you meet with them, Randy, you can say that we're helping to support this. Any other?
You mentioned Commissioner Comer a while ago. I know this is on his radar. I was surprised I didn't, found out something I didn't know, which is not unusual. But he came into White Farms and toured, and I stopped there and walked around with him. And I didn't realize White Farms is furnishing Jefferson County with school systems with a tremendous amount of produce. Actually, they're their largest fresh produce provider.
They were providing state parks for a long time. I don't know if they
They're still
are.
working on building their customer base and expanding it, and, but I didn't realize, but Jefferson County Schools, their cafeteria is centrally located. So they cook all the food in one location, they purchase it in one large supply, and then they send it out to each school. That was pretty interesting. Do what? Yeah, that may very well be. They didn't go through their whole list, but he was, I was surprised to find out that they furnished all, the most, he was the largest fresh food vendor for the Jefferson County. That was interesting to me. So anyway, that's just something to know about Marshall County, I guess.
All right, I've got two items to pay the bills. Our attorneys have told us we have to take this one separately. That is from Reed Wicker, the attorneys that's doing our investigation. We have the first bill, they're still working on. We have not received a report. They've asked for some more information, but we have received their first bill of $5,475. We need a motion to pay it.
Motion paid.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. I'll recuse myself on that. Next item, the rest of the bills, do I hear a motion to pay the bill?
Motion to pay the bills, Judge.
Have a motion and second, all in favor of that motion say aye. Any opposed, no.
Will you do one for?
Motion carried. Any other business come before the court?
Motion adjourned.
Do we know
Excuse?
when to expect a report from Mr. Wicker? Do we have any information?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Expecting it any day.
Any day?
That's what I was told 2 weeks ago. All right. Have a motion second, all in favor of the motion say aye. Meeting adjourned.